My days of owning and renovating hotels was fun and all, but after all of the intensive work, I wanted a simple life, so I packed up my bags and left town, travelling far until I came across a vacant lot of a supermarket within a small town. Could this be my calling? Ladies and gentlemen, join me on this adventure as we start from $50 in a small room and build a supermarket empire spanning multiple floors that makes thousands each day. If you're ready to come along, then my name is NooBee and let's get straight into it. My first day in the supermarket. How cozy? I looked around and saw that the area was quite small, but still manageable. I had $50 to my name, so I began as every other store did, buying some stock. Bread and other products were purchased and placed on the shelves, priced and ready to sell. The open sign was flipped and I was ready for my first lot of customers. Since I had no staff just yet, I had to put in the work and man the till myself, which was very interesting. As the day went on, my arms were getting tired, and that's when we had it. We had our first annoying customer, buying something that cost no more than $10 and paying with a $100 bill. Scumbag, really. I treated him correctly and gave him his change in only 25-cent and 50-cent coins. Apart from that unfortunate customer, the day went pretty well. Day 2 began very similar, buying stock and opening shop. Once again, I manned the tills for the day until I came across yet another difficult customer. So, like normal, I gave him the correct punishment. It had been a long day, so I took some time away from the shop and ventured around a portion of the city to see what competition we had. I got in early on day 3 and started right away, restocking the shop. I decided to have a small break once again and explored the rest of the city, which allowed me to scope out even more competition. I got back to the shop and bought a new product license, allowing me to sell even more types of items without getting sued. My money was getting a little low, so I consulted the computer and got myself a loan from Bank NooBee, which then let me purchase a fridge for some new items. The day was looking great, so I opened shop and manned the till, getting some more income for the day. Day 4 started with a quick restock of any empty products and manning the till all day. Although it was a relatively basic day, it also turned out to be our best day yet, with 25 customers and $360 in sales. I'm glad to say that NooBeeMart is picking up very fast. Since our money was looking pretty good right now, I decided to purchase a shop expansion, making our shop floor larger for more shelves or fridges. Once restocked, I opened shop and stood at my checkout. I had a smile on my face all day. That was until I had 3 overpaying customers in a row. What are the chances? The day was close to finishing, and once their punishments were given, I closed shop and prepared for the next day. Day 6 was a relatively quiet day. I restocked and repriced any items that people wanted, and manned the checkout until our daily report came in and showed that we had our first $500 day in sales. We are picking up speed really quickly. NooBee Bank called me at 3 AM requesting that I actually pay off my line, so I made them happy and paid off any payments that I could. I still had enough money to purchase a license, so I did exactly that, then repriced anything necessary and opened shop. The day was pretty average, or so I thought, until I read the final daily report and saw a $700 day. Crazy. Days 8 to 11 played out all the same. I restocked my products, repriced anything that needed it, and stood at my post all day, each day. On day 10, we managed to actually have our first $1,000 day, but unfortunately that dipped down on day 11. But I'm confident that we'll get back to that very soon. Day 12 started by, yet again, restocking and repricing items. I looked at the checkout and thought to myself, I refuse to do this on my own, so I went over to my computer and hired my very first employee. I introduced our new cashier to the store and showed him where he will work and decided to give him the name Greg. I didn't want him to be the only one working, so, like a good boss, I bought another checkout counter and placed it beside him. The shop was officially open after several hours, and I kept an eye on Greg for the whole day. You'll never guess what we did on day 13. Yep, we restocked and repriced again. I realised that we had enough money now to buy another license, so of course I did just that. However, now we had another issue. We didn't have enough shelving units for the products, so I risked the remaining money I had and bought a new shelf. I was hoping that when we opened shop that I would make my money back, but only time will tell. So I opened up shop and went along with my day. Day 14 was a slow but somewhat productive day. I restocked and repriced like normal, but as the day went on, I managed to actually pay off all of the loan debt I had remaining, so that's always great. Apart from that though, the day went on pretty much average. Well, I had day 15 written down as exactly, and I quote, hectic but productive. So let's start. I began like normal, restocking and repricing, then moved onto the computer to purchase myself the storage room. This room has no use for now, apart from storing boxes. I also bought an expansion for that room just to get ahead of the game. To get some more progress done, I purchased some racks for the storage so that my boxes won't just pile up in the corner, but now will be neatly stored away. Since I want to keep everything clean, just don't mention the mound of hundreds of boxes outside. Yeah. Anyways, I moved all of my product boxes to the storage and began my day, working hard with my buddy Greg. Days 16 to 19 were pretty standard, starting with some simple restocking and repricing of course. Then I opened shop, ending each day with a pretty average sales amount. I was able to buy another rack for the storage since it was getting a bit too busy in there. Day 20 started off with a bang. I bought a new product license, cash in hand, and just in case, I purchased yet another rack for the storage room. Once in place, I replenished all my stock, new and old, then opened up shop. I managed to stick it out to the end of the day, only to see my end of day report at $1,000 in sales. Day 21 began like always, then I opened up shop and looked outside to see the absolute state of what I had done with the boxes. So I decided to take a small break from being a cashier and started clearing up at least the road from boxes. It was tedious work, but it was looking much better by the minute. As time flew by, I managed to reach level 15, which now allowed me to hire yet another employee. This time, I hired a restocker and named him Chegg. This person would take boxes from the racks inside the storage room and automatically restock items in the store. How amazing is that? I left Chegg to do his duties and was able to pay off my outstanding loan payments before hopping back on the checkout counter. Today we had our biggest restock to date. We spent hundreds if not thousands on our stock supply and let my boy Chegg get to work before picking up my checkout counter and going to work once again on the boxes outside. I moved back and forth over and over until I had enough and put the checkout counter back down and spent the rest of my day working there. Our money was looking pretty good on day 23, and I took advantage of this by purchasing a new license, buying the new products and assisting Chegg with the big restock. The shop opened up, and as the hours went by, it came to my attention that all our money was well spent, as this was our first $1,500 day in sales. Days 24 and 25 were again pretty standard days. I left Chegg to do some work while I checked on my dogs downstairs, and when I came back, I bought any products that were empty and opened up shop. I did a mix of restocking and cashier work for the day, before hopping off the checkout and paying off my loan payments. Although day 24 ended as usual, day 25 ended with another bang. After our big sales day yesterday, I was now able to buy another product license. I began buying product but quickly realized that I would need another rack, so I took to the computer and bought myself another one before restocking everything and repricing anything I needed to. The shop floor was then opened and the long day began. At least now I have co-workers with me. Day 27 was a different change. I had realised that I had made all of these changes to the storage room, but no big changes to the shop floor, so today was officially that day. I started by restocking like normal, then I bought a store expansion and some lights, just so it doesn't get too dark. I began rearranging the counters, the shelves, and the fridges until I was satisfied. Then, once finished, I repriced my products before starting the day. I should mention now that I priced my products rounding up to the nearest 25 cents. It works quite well, but there is always usually around 5 people that think it's too expensive. But honestly, I don't care, they can cope. Another big day for NooBeeMart. We started by purchasing a new license with our big stacks of money, then putting our new products on the shelves. Like normal, we ran out of space for the products and had to order some more shelves and feeders for these to go on. When everything was in its designated slots, I repriced the necessary items and began our workday. I wanted to get back to cleaning the environment that I may or may not have caused by clearing up the boxes. So I picked up the checkout counter one more time and started working away. I got bored of running back and forth though, so I placed the checkout counter back down and worked alongside Greg for almost the rest of the day. As time went on, I flipped on the lights to notice that it was getting slightly jittery and laggy, and I began to link the lag to the hundreds of boxes just sitting outside, so I knew what had to be done. In between customers, I ventured back and forth to the boxes and putting them into the bin, getting rid of them entirely, but I knew that this would be a long process. Whilst my restocker got to work on day 29, I took some time to clear the boxes from the world. Once he had finished doing his part, I took a break from running and did a big purchase of any empty products that we needed. This used up all of my money, but I know it was worth it. The shop was finally opened and the day went on like usual. Days 30 and 31 came around, and the first thing I did was use my newly gathered cash to pay off all of my remaining loan payments that were available. I then took stand out front of my store and watched Chegg be busy at work. He eventually finished up and I spent some more money buying the empty products to resupply. Shop opened up after everything was ready, and I joined my boy Greg and worked on the checkout till closing time. I woke up from my extremely uncomfy bed and realised that we had managed to hit level 20, which now let us hire a second cashier. No more Greg being lonely, hooray. I took advantage of this and hired my new worker, Boofus, because just had to bring him back. I miss that guy. I got him comfy in his new workstation, and bought myself a new rack for the storage room. Looking at it deeply, I noticed that the storage was looking very messy, so I took action and began organising what I could to make it at least somewhat more presentable to potential customers walking by. Eventually, it was all finished and the time came to reprice my products and open up shop, letting my cashiers do all of the work for me. Another average day came around and we started day 33 by helping Chegg restock the storage before repricing items and letting the customers in. Throughout the day, I let my cashiers work checkout whilst I joined Chegg in keeping the store products in stock. Similar to yesterday, day 34 started with a quick and simple restock and reprice before starting the day and eventually paying off my loan payments at the end of my shift, which I guess is a great sign. Days 35 and 36 were big days for me, as it started off by finally paying off the rest of my loan. However, I then decided to take yet another loan for $2,000, which enabled me to now pay for a new rack for storage. I then used the rest of my money to purchase another product license, and stocked my new items on said rack. Once every product was no longer empty, I turned the close sign and stood in the corner of my store, letting my workers go crazy while I got my dogs back inside of my house. I came back to see that I had made a slight error, however, and was selling the newly bought pricey water without a price tag. How silly of me. Nothing too big happened on these days, but I did manage to have another $2,000 sales day on day 36, which is always nice to see. Day 37 was also another big day for me. I entered the store only to see my level was now officially 22, which meant we can now hire another restocker. What a milestone. I named him Graham and showed him how to do his job. He seemed to understand it well and got straight to work. I let him work until everything was restocked and opened the shop whilst I repriced some items. During my shift, I was a little bored just watching and waiting, so I became a good boss yet again and took to my computer to order a new checkout counter and a couple more lights. I set everything up and got back to work for the rest of the day. I was quite conflicted on day 38 as I wasn't sure what to do. Eventually, I decided and got a $5,000 loan for me to expand the store floor once again. I also used the money for a new storage rack and a new fridge for the shop floor. With these new items, I was able to grab another product license and restock everything and reprice anything that was necessary. The day was pretty average in terms of sales, but I was then able to pay off any loan payments that were available to me. Days 39 to 44 were again average overall. Each day was spent restocking, repricing, then giving my employees a pep talk before opening shop and greeting customers by the door. Again, nothing too special happened on these days, but I did manage to pay off all possible loan payments at the end of each shift, which was a big bonus. No matter how average those days were, they made up for it, as on day 45, I reached level 25 and was able to buy the next license. This license required a few more freezers, so I ventured to my computer and bought the amount that I needed before letting my guys restock and me repricing everything whilst customers rolled in. I kept an eye on the stock amounts throughout the day, ordering anything that ran empty. Days 46 to 50 were again pretty standard. I made my workers work their buns off and kept an eye on both them and the products all day. The checkouts were getting irritating to me, so I did a quick change around till I felt comfortable with their placements. Each day rolled by, and at the end of every shift, I made sure to pay off any loan payments that I could. This was until I had enough funds to pay off the rest of my loan entirely and still be safe for a big restock, so I definitely took that chance. Day 51 was a milestone for me. We ran through the daily opening shift work, getting my restockers and cashiers to get the store ready and open shop, ready for another day. This day played out like normal, but as we got to the end of day report, we noticed that it was actually our best day yet. This managed to become a $3,000 sales day. That is insane. Days 52 to 55 were quite active. It started with me paying off the $5,000 loan early, which was already a great start. I then prepped my squad in a circle and had a pep talk with them all and got the store ready for opening. The days were average after that, but the money kept rolling in more and more each time, so I had to keep going. The storage room was looking a bit busy once again, so I purchased 2 more storage room expansions and arranged the place to fit nicely. I had space for 1 more rack, so I bought one and arranged it in place. The time had come for me to help restock and reprice my items, then open shop for all my loving customers to buy what they want and not annoy me with massive orders. Or small orders but paying with $100 bills. I cannot wait. The day had come where my manager status reached level 29, and on days 57 and 58, I purchased 3 new racks and hired a new restocker. I think I'll call him Bogan. Yep, these are definitely real names, I'm sure. Okay, maybe not Greg, but oh well. Just as a side note, I want you all to know that I had to keep a list of all the restocker and cashier names in a file because it was getting an issue now. Our company size kept growing, and that didn't stop on day 59. We started the day as normal, restocking items and repricing items, and after the shop had opened and the first load of customers came through the door, I was able to hit level 30 and decided to hire yet another employee, a 3rd cashier. Everybody welcome Emmy. I know, right? A proper name? Yeah, not you, Greg. No one likes you. Emmy is actually my partner in real life who gave me motivation to carry this channel on, so if you're this far into the video, go to the comments and give her a big ol' thank you. As the cashier got settled into work, I glanced at the store and thought it could use a quick change, so I took some time and redecorated parts of the store. The time flew by quickly, however, and it got too dark for me to continue, so I closed up shop, got my end of day report and called it a night. The next couple of days were spent carrying on the decoration of the store. I wanted things to look neat, whilst giving the place an open style so it doesn't feel cramped with all the customers storming through. Once finished, I resupplied the products that were empty and repriced accordingly, then went on with my day. I'll come clean and say that I made a small mistake during this day. I thought it would be a good idea to purchase a new license during the middle of my shift, and that is when I realised that now my customers would want and demand those items even though I didn't have them yet. So I had to work quickly and stock up everything, making sure that the prices were accurate and that we had spares in storage ready for the rest of the shift. That license was a harder blow to my money than I expected, so on day 62, I took out yet another $5,000 loan, and for some reason, bought another product license. I'm not sure what I was thinking, but maybe I did have a plan in my brain. I made sure everything was stocked up with the help of Chegg, Graham and Bogan, then priced everything before opening the shop once more. Days 63 to 66 were nothing special. In the early hours of every day, I woke my workers up and got them ready for work. I made sure that every product wasn't empty and that every item on the shop floor was priced correctly before turning the sign and settling down. I purchased a fourth checkout counter just in case I got bored and spent some time tending to my customers. Another milestone was hit on day 67, as after my quick resupply of products, I opened shop and showed my great customer service experience off to my co-workers and customers, obviously. Hours went by and I decided to check my computer to see when I could next hire an employee, and that is when I saw it. I had finally hit my 1000th checkout milestone. That is so cool to see, but I can clearly see that I'm going to need a lot more for my next cashier. Day 68 was my realization of an error. I started the day like normal, supplying what products were low, then pricing everything properly. As my employees got to work, I checked my computer and looked up NooBee Bank, and that's where my short memory got the better of me. I completely forgot that I had myself another loan, and on top of that, I had forgotten to pay anything off. I was gathering late fees left and right, so I paid some of my payments, and once the day had finally concluded, my report said that we had a big $4,000 sales day. To start the next couple of days off strong, I booted up the computer and paid off the rest of my loan entirely. Chegg, Graham and Bogan got to work restocking their hearts out, and I took to the shelves to make sure all my items were correctly priced, then flipped the sign to start the weekend. My time was spent rushing back and forth between the storage room, helping my workers restock, and standing by my post, helping the other workers take orders. Our efforts were not in vain, however, as each day brought us more and more money, which we always love to see. I thought it was now time for an upgrade, so once again I loaded up the computer and purchased 2 more store expansions, making our shop floor larger. I had realised that these past few days that our main issue was a few products running out extremely quickly. These products were potatoes, toilet paper and chicken. I had an idea on how to fix this, so 3 new shelves were bought and swiftly placed within the store, which now allowed us to move the problem products and give them more shelving space, letting customers buy more and for us as a company to not run out as quickly. I had one more look around the store and made sure everything was perfect before resupplying and repricing anything I needed, then letting my workday begin. I stood by my checkout counter for most of the day, dealing with any customers that came over, giving them only the best customer service. That is, unless of course they paid $100 bills for a $2 item, then they got punished. The next couple of days were slow business days, or so I thought. I let my workers get the store and products ready for opening, then helped Emmy, Greg and Bufus on checkouts for both days, getting up every now and then to restock some shelves that were running empty. I noticed a blinding glare on my checkout counter, which I knew customers would not appreciate, so I looked around the ceiling of the shop floor to see if I could remove any of the lights and prevent this from happening. I took down a couple of unnecessary lights and continued my work, which surprisingly went quite well, as we hit an amazing $4,000 day twice. This long stretch of days was mainly for me to build enough funds for big projects yet to come. From days 75 to 82, I spent my time efficiently by restocking and repricing as early as possible, with help of course, then opening shop and becoming a fourth cashier for each day. There were no crazy special days during this in terms of sales, but we kept making enough to slowly inch our money to big growth. I had a slight mishap however. During days 80 to 82, I recorded over 2 hours of footage only to have OBS not record anything and all I saw was pure black. How fun. So unfortunately there was no footage for those days, but luckily enough that was the only time this happened. Days 83 and 84 were spent very similar, but with one addition. We ran through the average daily work, restocking and repricing as usual. Then during the midday, I decided that the boxes piling up outside were becoming a bit of an eyesore. So for the rest of my shift, I picked up boxes off of the poor guy's doorstep and put them into the bin. Whenever a customer came to my checkout, I stopped briefly and tended to their needs before returning to my hard work with the boxes. This is the day that kicked in the fact that we were almost finished. That didn't take long at all. Like always, day 85 began with a simple restock of our empty products and a quick glance at our computer to see which items we needed to reprice. I continued my work on the boxes, making sure to hustle back to the checkout counter whenever a customer was waiting, but as the hours went by, the box pile slowly got smaller and smaller until eventually the last box made its way to the bin and we were finally clear of everything from the street. Phew. My efforts were later rewarded as I held the end of day report and read $4,600 in sales. That is the highest we have ever had. I took my sweet time with day 86 as I was making big preparations in my head about what I was going to do for tomorrow. Whilst my workers restocked, I looked around the store wondering what I could edit, change or get rid of, and soon came up with an idea of how I wanted my store to look. I continued the workday with that in mind and got some good sleep in hopes that tomorrow goes smoothly. Day 87 began and I wasted no time before getting started. My plans were to redesign the shop floor's layout so that it not only looks nice aesthetically, but I wanted more space for the customers to walk through so it didn't feel as cramped like it normally does. To do this, the first thing I bought was some store expansions. This new space would not only allow my ideas to become reality, but also gives room for more products. Speaking of, I also wanted to give the storage room an actual layout for these products. So all the flowers would be together, all the pastas would be together, you get the point, or at least I hope you do. I purchased some more storage racks for the computer and began reorganizing product types. I could already tell that this was going to be the biggest day yet. With the product placement and store changes, I spent a solid 2 or 3 hours making sure that it was all perfect, and by the end, I was satisfied. I flipped the sign in hopes that the customers were happy with the changes. All seemed well, but then disaster struck. My restockers decided to go on strike. It was definitely not because I spammed hire and fire a couple times, but you know, oh well. So I risked the day without restockers, and I won't lie, that was the most customers I had seen in the store at once, so something was clearly working. After the big spending fiasco of yesterday, we were now in desperate need of money. So from days 88 to 95, I wasted no time between resupplying, repricing, opening shop, working alongside my employees to ensure a smooth and quick workday. Although nothing special happened between these days, they were extremely vital for what was yet to come. The strategy for money seemed to work quite well, and on day 96 I spent a portion of the cash to buy another store expansion, purely because the room was looking wrong without it. I did a quick reorganize of checkout counters and freezers whilst my restockers got to work, then started my day off strong. The hours went by surprisingly quick, and I let my employees go home early while I cleaned up and grabbed the end of day report, only to see that we managed to hit our first $5,000 sales day. The end was getting so close, but I couldn't allow that to get to my head. Days 97 and 98 were pretty regular, starting off with my restockers getting busy while I stood back and watched over them. When they had finished work and went on their first break, I gave my cashiers a pep talk and let them prepare for the days ahead while I repriced my items. Within the middle of these days, I decided to use my money again and purchase another product license, since we had an abundance of money. Well, not really, but, you know, roll with it I guess. I made sure that we had enough space in both the store and storage room, then organised the products accordingly before beginning my shift again and making sure our customers were having a great day. Just a couple of days left, but how are we going to finish this with a bang? That's what I thought about on day 99, but I couldn't let that slow me down, as work still had to be done. The restockers got in early to restock for me, and the cashiers clocked in to get ready for their shifts, all while I stood by and entertained my dog. The busy work, you know. Once everything was ready, I flipped the sign and did some cashier work whilst I thought to myself what I could possibly do for the last day. After a lot of thinking time, I finally had an idea, a great idea perhaps, one that my customers would quite possibly adore me for. This would have to wait though, so I got back to busy work, and by the end of the day, I was ready to get my comfy clothes on and slam my body down into bed and sleep. Day 100 was finally upon us. I dreamt about this day last night, and I'm praying it goes exactly how it's planned in my head. I started today like any other day, restocking with my co-workers, then giving each one some words of wisdom before putting my master plan to work. Today was the day that NooBeeMart was going to have a store-wide sale. For today and today only, our customers could buy any product for just $1. I spent a few minutes going round to each product on the shelf and repricing it to $1. Once complete, I opened the store and like Black Friday, the customers came storming in. Well, not really. More like I waited almost an hour and a half for the first customer to walk through. Although it was my last day, I still powered through and gave every customer great service until the night sky turned dark and it was time for me to finish my very last shift. Oh, how I will miss this store and my workers, but I closed the shop, shut off the lights, and read my end of day report for the very last time. And there we have it, everyone. 100 days of Supermarket Simulator, all finished. I really enjoyed my time as the CEO of NooBeeMart, and I hope that my employees had a great time too. I will surely miss each of them, but I'm sure I'll see them again someday. If you guys did enjoy this video, then please consider liking the video and commenting what games you think I should play. If you want to see more of my content, then of course, go check out my channel and even subscribe to stick around. I appreciate every one of you, and I'm hoping to come back to making videos for good now. But apart from that, stay hydrated, and I'll see you all in the next one. I don't know, maybe I'll become a storage flipper sometime.